Well, it's that time of the year. It's El Clásico. Let's give it a start to the show right away. Jump in. Muy bueno, mi gente. Aquí nos encontramos nuevamente en otro programa de Fútbol con Bambam.
Dentro del área. Golpea Petit. Zidane y gol. Ha marcado Zidane el 1-0 para Francia.
Welcome, everybody, and here we go. This is Futbol con Bambam, and yes, it is the day. It's the magic. It's the day that everybody was expecting, and we're talking about El Clásico. I know that for entire this week, there have been a couple disputes because of the Clásico. Of course, we were waiting for Champions Leagues to be over. We were trying to get everything in order to be able to go. Barcelona, Real Madrid, both did their job. They both lacked a little bit at the second half on their champion games. Thinking already about the Clásico, well, it's here. It's here. Now, let's talk a little bit about what went on before we go on and try to predict what is Ancelotti and what is Xavi going to do on this Clásico. So one of the positive things that has been going on for Barcelona is that they finally got their team completely training. And what we're talking about is key people who was actually injured or in the IR, who actually are willing to induce themselves today to be able to play, because everybody wants to play in the Clásico. And yes, we're talking about Lewandowski, we're talking about Frankie de Jong, and we're talking about Rafinha. We're even talking about Gavi, who didn't play the previous game, pretty much is coming inside and be eligible for the Clásico, because like I said, everybody wants to play the Clásico. And the Real Madrid side, there is always questionable mark because of Bellingham. There's questionable mark because of Rudiger. We don't know yet they're fully conditioned. We've seen that they've been training in the gym. This could be mental game. We know that both of them actually left the Champions League game limping, one with a little bit of exhaustion on his muscles. So we'll see exactly what's going to be happening for El Clásico. But before we go with that, let's talk a little bit about the first dispute that it was all over the news and everybody discussing about it. We're talking about Florentino Perez. Will he be going to El Parco, to the stadium, to be able to be right beside Joan Laporta? Well, the answer is no. And the reason for this is because there's been tons of stuff that has been occurring. One of them has been because Laporta has been defending himself about the Negreira case. We already know that he's been also as a person of interest, and he's been already booked to be appearing in the judge. And because of this, he tried to defend himself talking about a madridismo sociológico, right? What is this pretty much trying to say is he's trying to blame that everything that is going on is because of Madrid. Now, we all can determine and we can figure out that he's talking about Real Madrid. In this case, Real Madrid has just withheld himself. They didn't say anything from this perspective. Then it comes out to be that there was a tweet after the game, because Vinicius, if you saw the Champions League game, Vinicius actually started doing a little bit of dance with the leg because he found himself locked in one corner and just decided to do like little bicycles, little games with his legs. And then he got out. So one of the people who actually, it's very important in Real Madrid and Barcelona, came up and put up a tweet saying, he started with the phrase, "This is not racism." You know that when somebody starts with this type of phrase, it's because racism is coming afterward. And it was just like that. He just started saying that it should not be racism against Vinicius, but they should actually like slap him, pretty much, in other words, because he's a clown by doing these kind of stunts. But they tend to forget that two of the very key players, that's what they lived on in Barcelona. And we're talking about Ronaldinho. Do we forget about Ronaldinho? We're talking about Neymar. Do we forget about Neymar? No, we can't do that. So I don't understand why Barcelona right now is getting so upset, because Vinicius tends to do some little things that maybe not everybody agrees with it, but that's the style from Brazil. And because it's the style from Brazil, that is the style that it was shown in Barcelona. And they defended every time everybody started criticizing those type of actions against Barcelona. They all said that everybody was hating against their key players. And now, because it's doing in the opposite squad, now they have, and they feel free to be able to insult this player. So having that said, this is apparently the trigger that took away Florentino, who gave a call to Laporta, which was expecting to have a dinner early in the morning today. They were going to have a dinner right before, like at noon over there, before they go to the game, which the dinner is still going to occur, but it's not going to be with Florentino Perez. And now we know that Laporta still going to continue with the protocol, and there might be somebody representing Real Madrid. I don't have that information with me. I do know that Florentino Perez is definitely not assisting to the palco. So having that said, that the next dispute that actually occurred was Barcelona chose or selected and suggested one ref, and then of course from the other side they selected another ref, and it came out to be that there was a draw, and Gil Manzano was the person selected. Now, this was a big chaos because we know that the previous weeks, Real Madrid has been pointing videos about ref that has been selected to whistle on the games and be the judge on Real Madrid games. And of course, Real Madrid does not agree with them because they create numerous amount of mistakes during a game. So therefore, Real Madrid thinks that they're not ready to be able to be a ref inside key games. And this actually happened with the Burgo Bergochea, the last game. They made a video, and everybody don't understand exactly if this was a vendetta or this is just pretty much that the ref is still not ready for this type of stage. It came out to be that he took away 2 goals from Real Madrid and then did not count for a penalty, where there was a recording afterwards shown that apparently when Vinicius was claiming this in the first half, when the first half whistle went on, apparently there was caught, or at least the lip readers from Spain was figuring out that it said and heard that the Burgo Bergochea said, "I'm sorry, I made a mistake." Now, this doesn't help because, of course, Real Madrid actually suffered in that game, then a tie, put this game of the Clásico on the point. But Gil Manzano, Real Madrid is not complaining about Gil Manzano. And the only reason why Real Madrid does not complain about Gil Manzano is because Real Madrid considers that Gil Manzano is actually the best ref in Europe right now, or basically in Spain, not in Europe. He's in Spain, but he is the European and the only one that will represent Spain as a Euro coming up. And the reason for that is because he's been one of the refs with the fewest amount of mistakes in games. Doesn't mean he doesn't make mistakes. There has been complaints against Real Madrid with this ref, but of course, this is something that Real Madrid at least says, hey, if somebody's going to whistle in the Clásico, it has to be somebody who makes less mistakes towards everybody, keeps it neutral. And they feel comfortable that Gil Manzano is the best ref right now in La Liga. Therefore, they did not complain about this, but this has not sit well in Barcelona. Barcelona has been complaining, saying and accusing that Gil Manzano is the ref that it favors Real Madrid. And when you go to the stats, they even put out stats in there, and the stat says that Gil Manzano has coached or has ref 21 times on the European stages, and only 2 Clásicos. And of course, the 2 Clásicos that Gil Manzano has as ref, both of them, Real Madrid has been victorious. Now, this is one of the reasons why you see the people from Barcelona coming inside and complaining and finding that this is a little bit of a foul play. However, it was explained that the way the system of the ref comes on, and as we're talking, I'm actually trying to look for the stats for it. So it says right now, Gil Manzano did 21 Champions League, 2 Clásicos, 1 Derby, and he has ref numerous times in first division. Now, the ref that Barcelona did one was Sánchez Martínez, right? And of course, Sánchez Martínez has whistled 6 times in a Clásico and only had 4 appearances in Europe. Hernandez is the other ref Barcelona wanted. He only has whistled twice in European, but 4 Clásicos, right? So Gil Manzano is actually, from all the lists that I've seen and I saw in the stats, Gil Manzano was the least amount of Clásicos whistled. Does that make sense? You have your best ref and you don't want to put him in a Clásico. That does make no sense at all. So therefore, this is one of the reasons why Real Madrid has not put up a video against the selection of the ref, because Real Madrid understands that at least the person who's going to be there has been probably, it's the best ref. So basically he's been experienced and been ready to be able to whistle a game just like this one. So having that said, we know right now that Barcelona feels as an unfair, even though Xavi on the post previews, right, on the press conference, came up and said that he just does not want to create any issues towards the ref. They're trying to keep that window right there. But Barcelona, they've been complaining that Real Madrid uses the Real Madrid TV to be able to express their opinion, but then Barcelona uses their press to be able to push their opinion as well. So they're playing their games. Every team does their own thing, and it's okay with me in that point. You know, you can agree or disagree with them, their strategies. It can cost them at one point or another, but it is a strategy that they do each other to try to gain advantage mentally or eagerly. I don't know. They're searching for something. Sometimes they can get it, sometimes they can't. So anyways, let's go with the creme of the creme. Let's go exactly what do we think that Ancelotti and Xavi is going to put in the game today. So I will start with Barcelona. And having that said, I think personally that Ter Stegen is going to be the goalkeeper. Of course, we know that's going to happen. But I think Xavi is going to play with Balde, Íñigo Martinez, and Christensen as the two center backs, and Balde as the corner. And I really think Araujo is going to be on the right-hand side. And the reason for that I'm saying that Araujo will be on the right-hand side is because I think Xavi knows that if he leaves Cancelo in that side, it's going to be a field day for Vinicius Jr. running on the back of Cancelo. Cancelo tends to be more an offensive defender, and then it comes back and lacks a little bit. We saw that on the previous in Champions League, but that's my opinion. Now, big questions come up. I think Cancelo is going to become one of the corners in the midfield, but if that occurs, what is going to happen? Is Xavi going to go with Oriol Romeo as a contention? Will he bring Gavi, as he did in one of the games, also to be the back? Or is he going to bring Frankie de Jong? Now, we know that Jong has been injured for several weeks, and he's lacking a little bit of rhythm. My opinion is De Jong will not start in this Clásico. I think Xavi is going to try to bring De Jong. If he can keep that Clásico close or even ahead, he's going to probably bring De Jong to be able to control and manage a little bit more of the time inside in the second half. Having that said, I think Gundogan is going to get that position with Gavi. I think those are going to be the two back contention. And then Fermin and Cancelo is going to probably be in the midfield. And then, of course, in the forward is going to be Joao Felix. And we've seen how Ferran has been scoring in multiple games. But I still think that a big killer or a big name like Robert Lewandowski, he wants to play. He wants to play in this game. So I think he will start in this game, even though he's out of rhythm right now. And I think that's going to be an advantage for Rudiger. Now, having that said right there, a couple things can happen in Barcelona. There could be the case that Xavi actually goes with Cancelo in the corner, because everybody's saying that now that Real Madrid is playing more formation as a 4-4-2, it really doesn't have that three corners in the front that's going to be able to put that much pressure. And maybe they want to have Araujo and Cancelo play together against Vinicius. And then, but if that happens and you do a double contention in the back, like a Gavi and a Gundogan, then you're going to have them controlling Bellingham, and then Íñigo Martínez and Balde are going to have to deal with Federico Valverde and Rodrigo Gómez. So that's probably a strategy. It might be. I don't know. But it's something that I'm thinking that is going to happen in the Clásico. We'll see if my prediction actually works or not, does not work. But that's exactly what I think is going to happen. Now, let's talk a little bit about Real Madrid side. And I think Real Madrid side, we know that Kepa is going to be the goalkeeper. And the defense, I think the only question will be who's going to be on the left-hand wing. Is it going to be Eduardo Camavinga or is it going to be Ferland Mendy? I obviously already know it's not going to be Fran Garcia. So Camavinga or Mendy? I think Ferland Mendy is going to be the starter. There's going to be the starter. And the reason for that is because Cancelo tends to go through that way. Fermin is going to probably put some pressure through that way. And we know that Mendy is a rock, is a well-known or very solid defense. And same as Camavinga, he's not done it wrong in that area. However, I think Carlo Ancelotti is going to try to have more of a defensive experience instead of Camavinga that tends sometimes to go up a little bit more. And sometimes his weakness could be that he just doesn't know the position well, it lacks a little bit on the speed when he returns. And we've seen him suffer a little bit against speedsters when it comes out to that corner. And we know how Cancelo sometimes love to go through the inside, then cut through the outside. Fermin is going to be a headache through that area. They're going to be switching left and right consistently with Joao Felix in that area. It might be a big trouble for Camavinga to be in that corner. So I think Ferland Mendy is going to be there. Alaba, Rudiger are going to be the center back unless Rudiger is not feeling 100%. If Rudiger is not feeling 100%, then things might change, because it might be that Mendy could be a center back. It could be that Nacho comes in as a center back, and things might change in rotation for Ancelotti. However, Ancelotti did say on the previous of the press conference that everybody is feeling good. We know already that Ceballos is not feeling well. He's hurt. And Arda Güler has not played any games. So we know those two are not going to be in the game. Definitely. And I think he's not going to overthink about what's going to be his formation. We've already seen his starting 11 most likely all assembled as everybody's healthy. And the way that it looks like right now is going to be Rudiger, Alaba, center back, Carvajal, Mendy in the defense. And then in the midfield, Tchouaméni is going to be his pivot. Tchouaméni is going to be his contention. And it's going to be Federico Valverde and Toni Kroos in the midfielder. Bellingham as a mid striker, and then of course Rodrigo and Vinicius Jr. are going to be the forwards and strikers of the team. Now I think this is going to be a strategy the way it is. I think the headaches are going to be the headaches to look into, right? We're going to see if Lewandowski comes and starts. I think Rudiger could be able to defend them and neutralize them. We've seen how Alaba and Rudiger consistently, when they see Lewandowski, they be bumping between each other and actually making him suffer and disappear a little bit in the Clásicos. Now, we have the key function right now that Joao Felix, one of the stats that he has is he's never beaten Real Madrid at all. He's not even scored against Real Madrid or has an assist. So this is the game that he might want to show off. And it might be a big game for Joao Felix to be able to have the opportunity to play with Real Madrid. We know that Real Madrid one time, a couple times when they go inside and they start putting pressure, especially in the first coming minutes in the game, they can create goals to Real Madrid. They could create problems for Real Madrid. Therefore, that might be an advantage for Barcelona in that moment to use the youngsters as Fermin, Joao Felix. Maybe the speed of Cancelo might create issues for Real Madrid. Now, this is one of the concerns that Real Madrid has, and it's because they have so much diversity. They have speed. They have diversity how they move. Now, of course, one of the weaknesses from Barcelona is they don't have a back contention that it could be very strong. And we've seen how in some of the games, Barcelona tends to start very well in the first half, and then the second half starts fading and coming off and getting disorganized, or especially when they start going back and forward consistently, not have a little bit of possession of ball, they tend to open up their lines a little bit more between the defense and the midfield, and that is a weak side for Barcelona. We see how sometimes the defense in Barcelona has been susceptible to like being accessible. The same thing has happened also from Real Madrid, also especially in the air game. You know, anybody who actually plays a really top game, which in this case, Real Madrid does not have too much problem versus Barcelona, except for Lewandowski and maybe Araujo when it comes out to be. But besides that, the height is not as in the favor of Barcelona in this moment. So we'll have to see in this game. I still predict that Real Madrid will come in winning 1-3 in this match. It's gonna be in Barcelona. So we've seen right now that Real Madrid, his only defeat has been as a visitor, and he has 1 tie and 6 appearances as a visitor. Now, we know that Barcelona has been perfect in home every 5 games that he's had. They've won every game, and they've been, 2 goals conceded and 12 goals in favor. Now, Real Madrid has conceded 5 goals as a visitor and 11 goals in favor. So those are kind of the stats that we have right now on top of the table. In my opinion, I think still the Real Madrid brings the steadiest or the best squad between both squads completely right now. Maybe because Real Madrid is a little bit healthier. maybe because it comes out to be that the midfield in Real Madrid is simply amazing. His youth, you know how you have Fede Valverde with speed, you have Jude Bellingham doing an incredible start of a season, and then of course they're going to bring the experience of Toni Kroos, which has been phenomenal this year, and then Tchouaméni has been the person who just becomes a rock in the mid contention. So therefore, and then what you do is, once you have that, who's your rotation? Your rotation is Brahim Diaz, which is outstanding also, very fast, very skillful. You have Eduardo Camavinga, who's amazing dribbling and putting control on the ball. You got Luka Modric, who would not want to have Luka Modric also has to have a change in the game. And then you still have like a Joselu who comes in and still putting goals in almost every match that he comes out. So those are type of keys that Real Madrid has to be able to work with this. And then, of course, I haven't mentioned Fran Garcia, who's just a speedster. If they find out and figure out that Barcelona is bleeding through that little corner, they're going to actually come inside and put a speedster to be able to just push everybody to the back. So I think the key result in here for the key for victory for Real Madrid will be controlling the ball, controlling the game, and putting pressure consistently and making Barcelona play in the back and staying in the back. Now, for Barcelona, it's going to have to be take advantage of the counterattacks, take advantage of some of the balls that you can open up between Joao Felix and Lewandowski, and using that youth of Fermin might be able to be key to withholding here. One of the key aspects also for Barcelona, try to stop Bellingham. If you can stop Bellingham, it might be a little bit of difficulty, more difficulty for Real Madrid. We've seen that when Bellingham has been neutralized, Real Madrid struggles a little bit more, especially because Vinicius comes from an injury. However, everybody's claiming that because his last game in the Champions League, he's looking like the old Vinicius. If that's the case, they're going to have a lot of trouble to deal with Vinicius Jr. And we saw already Rodrigo Goes score his first goal. It might be the start initial that he needed to be able to continue. Now, from Barcelona, the key, like I said, Lewandowski, Joao Felix, maybe Cancelo opening those lines and putting pressure, and pushing Real Madrid to stay in the back, which sometimes we know that that's not comfortable for them. So those are the keys. That's my opinion. I hope this video has not come up a little bit too long. I wanted to warm up a little bit the Clásico. I hope and expect that you enjoy the Clásico. It's going to be early in the morning. It's 10 in the morning right now. In a couple hours, it's actually going to be the Clásico. So I'm hoping you're enjoying this video, getting hyped up and getting ready for a Clásico. And give me your comments and let me know exactly what's going to be your score prediction. I think it's going to be an amazing Clásico, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I'm going to be enjoying it. So I see you guys later. Thank you so much for being and participating in Futbol con Bambam, and I'll see you until next time. Ciao!